And we're live, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. It is 9 a.m., so let's call this meeting to order. An agenda has been published and is before you. Is there any additions anyone wishes to make? If not, I would entertain a mover and a seconder to approve the agenda.
So moved, Ed.
So moved.
Thank you, David. And seconded by
I'll second.
Sally. All in favor? I assume I have to go through the roll call.
Warden Mennel, Councillor Giguere,
Yes.
Councillor Martin,
Yes.
Councillor Ketchabah.
Yes,
4-0, the motion is carried.
thank you. The minutes from the last regular meeting of July the 22nd has been circulated. If there are no errors or omissions, I would entertain a motion to approve and adopt.
Giguere, I'll move.
Thank you, Dominic.
Seconded.
Martin, second.
Thank you, Sally.
Warden Mennel,
Yes.
Councillor Giguere,
Yes.
Councillor Martin,
Yes.
Councillor Ketchabah.
Yes,
4-0, the motion is carried.
thank you. Let's move on with item 3 then, and let's split it up and deal with the additional funding requests first. So who wants to speak to that?
I can.
Thank you.
As the report indicates, staff have received some feedback regarding the continued struggles of our local organizations across the county and how they struggle to pay their expenses in regards to COVID-19, and they aren't able to have their events, so they aren't able to generate this revenue. And there also has been a bit of feedback asking that the committee still consider providing funding for these organizations, even though they aren't holding these events. The committee did make a decision to support organizations that were pivoting and going online and being creative about how they deliver their services during the pandemic. And then on June 23rd, did make the decision not to support organizations whose events weren't going forward. Also, it is important to note that we actually haven't received any requests directly from these organizations. It's just been on their behalf. At this time, we don't have a formalized process in place to deal with these sorts of applications and whether we could use this residual grant money to provide additional funding to these organizations. If this is the will of the committee, we would need to contact these organizations and ask them to resubmit a proposal, letting us know what they're going to be spending the funds on. And also we would need to develop a process by which we could weigh all these different proposals that would be transparent and fair as well. So I would be happy to answer any questions that the committee might have.
Thank you, Catherine. Any questions?
Just a comment.
I noticed
and,
that Heather made a suggestion that she thought.
Okay, we got two different conversations going here. Sally, can you hold on for a minute and let David go?
Certainly.
Okay,
Just a comment, and since there's been no applications for the second wave, I would suggest that we not have any or not consider any further grants. In fact, I really question the necessity going forward of having a second request on the grant process. It's very time consuming for staff and as well as the people out there that are considering it.
thank you, David. Sally?
Yeah, I just noticed that Heather's email had suggested that she felt some of these groups might need it. I agree with Dave that it's very cumbersome if they have to go through another proposal, and the same with us. It's too bad we voted to not do anything earlier, and that is what would trigger this, because I do know, being in charge of two volunteer organizations, how financially difficult this is this year with no way whatsoever to raise funds and just pay basic expenses. The suggestion in the report is that we go, get out to them quickly and let them apply early for 2021. so that maybe we could give them funds then. And my concern would be we've not used up all our funds. Can we make the funds a little higher next year as a way of helping supplement some of the stuff they lost this year? That's just a question.
Well, my interpretation, Sally, regarding the funds, I think that was something that the budget committee would probably have to deal with. I don't think there were any provisions within the discussions by this committee to stack funds or unused funds down the road. But again, that's something that can be considered. I do draw your attention to the further email that Heather sent regarding the minister's announcement that they are providing funding available to fair boards on an application basis. I think that was August 20th. So I think there's an avenue out there for these organizations to go and seek assistance for those that need it. If we go back and think about the original application from Wallacestown, this one was looking for assistance from the county to install a water line. The committee at the time decided that since they're not moving forward with their event, and besides that we weren't interested in funding capital. And under the new program, we don't fund capital or operations. The second thing I want to draw to your attention and just remind you of, when we sought follow-up information about these from these organizations, but whether they be proceeding or not in the spring, I believe the feedback from the Wallacestown Ag Society suggested that because of the advent of COVID-19 and because they canceled their soccer program down in Dutton Dunwich, that the municipality was not even going to fund cutting their grass. So the question I'm putting back to the committee first, and perhaps it's not the right question, but it's one I'm going to throw, is that if the local municipality isn't willing to fund the fair board, then why should the county? So just those are a few of my comments, and that's what I'm going to leave it at right there. And I tend to agree with the warden that I don't think we should be doing this at this point. Dominique, if you have anything to add, please.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just add that I would disagree with the statement that there is absolutely no way of doing fundraising. So I've already participated in a number of fundraising activities in the county. Very creative. There's been arts and crafts sold online. Some of them now actually in person. So anyway, there have been a number of activities. So it is possible to fundraise. And so I would encourage these organizations to be creative, and that is a form of support that we could offer if they want to reach out to our economic development team and brainstorm ideas for fundraising. I think the policies right now and the types of gatherings we can have allows for fundraising. So I think they should, and I think we should also stick to our plan and our policy.
Thank you. Any additional comments from anyone else on the committee?
Just Sally.
Yep. Please go ahead.
Can I go ahead?
Yes, please go ahead.
What I was, the capital grant thing, I agree totally. We never supported capital in the past. That was a separate thing. When we gave them, the county council decided to give them $10,000 toward a pavilion. Then they came back with wanting that same amount again the next year. Only we had said that was a one-time special grant that had nothing to do with these grants. It was a separate thing. So no, I totally agree with you that we shouldn't be funding capital, and that never was our intention with this committee. So I'm quite happy with the agreement to to not do anything. They haven't formally requested anything anyway. And I just know with Dominique's comments about there's other ways to fundraise, it just depends on who you are and what group you are, because sometimes there are no resources, to offer online. That's the problem. But anyway, I'm in favor of what the warden said.
Thank you for those comments. I guess one more comment to offer is that, as Catherine has pointed out, we don't have any protocol for dispersing these residual funds. And I would argue that it's kind of beyond the scope of the community grant program at this point. There's nothing preventing these organizations, should they need some financial assistance, from appealing to the council as a whole. But I'm thinking it's beyond what the mandate of the Rural Initiatives Committee is at this point. And perhaps I'm wrong, but that's what I am interpreting from a process point of view. But so if there isn't anything further, should we move on then with the community grant program packages?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Would you like me to speak to that one as well?
Please.
All right,
Please.
thank you, Mr. Chair. The 3 community grant packages are included in the agenda package. They have undergone several rounds of revisions at the committee and staff level, and staff are seeking feedback and approval from the committee today to move forward with the process as of September 1st to launch the corresponding website and to contact the previous applicants and to open the application period for the 2021 grant season. Staff have attempted to include all of the feedback from this committee as well as from County Council. We've simplified the language, we've reduced duplication, we've reduced the size of the packages to make the final product as user-friendly as possible while still meeting the objectives of the committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Catherine. Any comments from committee members?
Yeah, I'm glad
I
to
would
see that.
commend them.
Go
Let's
ahead,
let David go. It's pretty difficult. We can't see you raise your hand, Sally, so let's go with David and then come back. David, please.
The new criteria and the revisions, it is somewhat less cumbersome. It's still a lot to go through if you're the Plowman's Association for $200, but I think we're going in the right direction.
Thank you.
I
Sally?
was just going to commend them for the more simplified form. I agree with Dave for the Plowmans, but I think the form and the color coding really help too, whether it's a seeds grant or a cultural grant or a cultivate grant. So I was just going to commend them for making them much more easy to sort through.
Thank you for that. Dominique?
Just thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll just echo those comments. This is great work. It's come a long way. It's very responsive to all of the feedback that's been received. I'm sure our other colleagues on council would approve also that it is clear now. And if you download just one, really just have 10 pages and 2 pages of questions, everything is clear. So really well done. That was a tremendous amount of work.
Thank you for those comments as well. I would agree with everything that's been said. I particularly like the notion of doing a, forgive me for saying it, a post-mortem next spring after we've gone through this process once to gather the feedback. And to me, it's like a living document. We will make changes down the road if necessary. So the process then, Julie and or Catherine, do you need a motion from the committee recommending to move forward? Or what do you require?
Yes, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay, now I guess I should go back to your original report. I'm still thinking that we want to break this up a little bit. I think I'd like to deal with the funding request separate because it's a busy recommendation in there. So if we could get some wordsmithing on that. How about that the August 19th, 2020 report titled Additional Funding Requests and Community Grant Program Approval submitted by the Supervisor of Legislative Services and Community Relations be received and filed for information, and that the Rural Initiatives and Planning Advisory Committee does not recommend additional funding at this time. Would that work for the committee? So could we have a mover and seconder for that part of it?
So moved.
Dave? Seconder?
Jiguer.
Thank you, Dominique. So all in favor of that?
Warden Manel,
Yes.
Councillor Jiguer,
Yes.
Councillor Martin,
Yes,
Councillor Ketchabah.
Yes.
4-0, the motion is carried.
Okay, and then the second motion, that the community grant program application packages for community services, festivals and events and community signage be approved, and that staff proceed with implementation of the 2021 process beginning on September 1st, 2020. Does that sound all right to everyone? And if so, I'd take a motion or a mover and seconder.
Jiguer, I'll move.
Okay, I have Sally moving and Dominique seconding.
Warden Manel,
Yes.
Councillor Jiguer,
Yes.
Councillor Martin,
yes,
Councillor Ketchabah.
Yes.
4-0, the motion is carried.
Fantastic. Moving right along, do we have does staff have any idea of a next time we need to get together? I would assume it'd be probably November or December.
I
Do
would
we
assume
want to
once,
set it? I'm sorry?
I was going to assume once the grant applications are in, probably not until then.
That's what I'm
unless
getting
something
at.
else comes up.
So do we want to set a date at this time, or do we want to leave it for the chair to call it when we get these packages in November? I think that'd be more flexible.
Leave it for the chair.
Thank you. We will so do. All right, anything else to discuss this morning? Seeing none and hearing none, I think we've done very well. And again, I'd like to add my thanks to staff for moving this project along. It's not like you haven't had anything else to do. I know you've been very busy. So again, thank you very much, and with gratitude from the Rural Initiatives Committee. And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, David. Seconder?
Second.
I think I'll take Dominique on that.
Warden Manel,
Yes.
Councillor Jiguer,
Yes.
Councillor Martin,
Yes.
Councillor Ketchabah.
Yes,
4-0, the motion is carried.
that's pretty good. That's only about 18 minutes by my clock.
Well
Have a great
done.
morning, everyone.
Thank you.